Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again here to Race on Texas. Even though it says dirt on the flag stand. But anyway, we are here on Race on Texas live on the YouTube channel. We have a guest here in the booth, but before we introduce them, we do need to thank the sponsors that make all of this possible here on the racing side of things. And those sponsors include iRacing iCore, that is iRacing Community of Racing Etiquette, as well as Ohio Freshwater Adventures, and of course Evil One Graphics. Make sure you check out all of these great partners on their social media sites. Check them out. Thank them for what they do to support this series and this league. That being said, in the booth with me here tonight is the one and only Brandon Crute. So Brandon, welcome to the booth here for, even though it says VRN in their name, technically Race on Texas, but either way, welcome to the booth.
Thank you, and good to be here first time with Race on Texas, and I think even anything with VRN or Race on Texas for that matter. Yeah, here with the World of Thunder Racing League tonight, and we're ready to kick things off.
We are indeed. Again, only have a few minutes left. We got about three and a half minutes left in practice. Obviously, we used to do the midgets here. They switched it over to street stocks, and a much better turnout here. As we're looking at about 21, 22 drivers. Again, not sure if Daniel Passmore is going to be race control or actually racing here tonight. But a not a huge car amount, but again, anytime you get over 20 cars, it's going to be some good racing, because I believe 22 are going to make it to the A main here tonight for 40 laps. Fairbury, one of my favorite tracks, and I know it's one of yours as well.
Absolutely. I love this place, and some hard-nosed short-track racing action, especially the full fender frenzy with the street stocks here, and these guys gonna be able to go out there and race hard and maybe even rough it up a little bit. So we'll see how the night goes, and but I'm sure these guys are gonna have a blast, and we're gonna have a blast watching it.
Yeah, definitely going to have a blast. And, it is the season opener. This is the first race of the season, so we don't have a whole lot of point standings to go over, actually any, or anything like that to go over. But I know we were talking a little bit before we went live about a new track that's coming. This track, a little unforgiving. You got concrete walls back there. However, looks like we may be getting a track here, not necessarily in the near future, but in the future, that is going to change all that with no walls.
Yeah, that track's going to be Lernersville, and, I'm excited for that, and, not to spread any rumors, but so I've heard from a podcast that iRacing had released, we may actually get an outside pit area trial, so that should be interesting, and I'd say finally.
Yes, definitely finally. I would imagine if it's going to be outside, you'll probably merge in somewhere on the front stretch. Would be my guess. Could be on the back stretch, but it'd be interesting to see how that works in practice. Obviously, for the races, you're not going to come through the pits. You're going to be starting on the track anyway, I would imagine. But definitely going to be something interesting, finally, to have that outside pits, if it does indeed happen. It's been a long time in the making, and a long time in the making to have a track that doesn't have walls on the outside is that can change a lot of things. You make a little mistake, you tap the wall. You make a mistake, there is no wall, you go over the edge of the track, and it's going to be a lot more disastrous for you.
Yeah, and I like a place like Fairbury too. It's kind of got that grassroots type feel to it. It's not a professionally it's not a multi-million-dollar track, I should say. Obviously a lot of money goes into these places in real life, and track promoters do the best they can to put on some awesome racing. The thing I like most about this place is these walls here are so unforgiving. As you make the smallest mistake, these things will suck you right in. It's a brick wall all the way around this place, and, it's not like a smooth concrete wall. The brick walls are, they'll suck you in. They're a little bit of an uneven edge going around the outside, so the smallest of mistakes could send you into the wall, and especially with the street stocks, possibly up and over.
Yeah, I've seen one other track in real life like this as practice is coming up. Fort Cobb up in Oklahoma, where it has these concrete K-rail walls, and they are not forgiving at all. Was up there taking pictures. Luckily, these cars hopefully won't go over. But you take something like a sprint car this track, and you're definitely going to go over that wall if you hit it. But we are running street stocks here tonight as practice is over. They have only 3 minutes to get out here and qualify, so we'll drop down the qualifying bar there. Again, some of the names not showing up. We have an issue with the overlays. But obviously, we'll go over a couple of these. But what kind of times do you think we can expect here? Some of these guys are pretty fast.
Yeah, some of these guys are really fast. I'd expect anywhere probably in the low 15s. Even, I don't expect it with the track state how it is right now, but I'd expect maybe, low 15s, possible for a very high 14.9 at the very minimum. But for the pole time, I expect probably a 14.0 or a 14.1.
And there we go. We have a 15.1 so far. And that is going to be Robert Tucker in the 15.119. Brandon Franks behind him with the 15.129. So time's definitely going to be interesting here. That's a difference of only 0.100. And that's going to be very interesting to see how close they're going to be here competitive-wise.
Yeah, it's, and one thing about the street stock is that the times are so close, the racing is so close, and these guys are so competitive. As Brandon Franks at the top of the board right now with a 15.021. So far, your quick time of the night. So, these cars are so close and so competitive, and everything about them, no matter what you do to the setup, is you always have competition around you. And that's one thing I think that draws a lot of people, as you said, over 20 cars here tonight.
Yeah, and you talk about, this being kind of a grassroots track, kind of a grassroots car as well. These are not the souped-up late models, modifieds, 410 sprints, anything like that. These are kind of you don't want to classify them as, but the little junker cars that got started for dirt track racing. So obviously they're a little nicer than the little like pony stocks or stingers or whatever you might call them where you're at. But they are one of the beginning cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And granted, these cars do have the big tires underneath them, but not a lot of power. A little GM crate under the hood of these things, and they'll pack a punch and they'll grip up with the big tires. And I think that's why it makes it such a good beginner's cars. You can kind of throttle up and go, and this thing will stick right off the corners.
It will, as we're watching the 073 of Steve Robbins there gets into the tire and pops it up. That's one thing about these cars. You can somewhat hit those tires just a little bit, and it doesn't completely upset the car like it would a sprint car or an open wheel car. If you hit one of the tires with these, or those cars, it's really going to mess it up and or flip you. Not so much with these. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. That being said, qualifying, of course, is over. So we'll get rid of all the graphics off your screen, as it's going to be heat race number 1 of 2. Only 2 heat races here tonight with pretty good-sized fields.
Yeah, good-sized fields indeed. And so the field will line up behind the iRacing pace car here. They'll get 2 laps around before we go green flag.
We will, and it's going to, of course, you talked about him, Brandon Frank's going to be your pole sitter here tonight for heat race number 1. But a name we didn't mention there in qualifying too much, that is the 115 right next to the 116 of Jed Barton. Jed Barton, obviously one of those D1RT drivers. You can't count them out. I don't think I've ever seen a D1RT driver drive a street stock, but obviously they're fast and everything else, so I wouldn't expect anything less here.
Yeah, so both D1RT drivers going to be starting on the front row here. Obviously, Brandon Frank's going to be your quick time of the night starting pole heat race number 1. These guys will take 2 pace laps around the Fairbury Speedway, and they'll get ready to go green here right off the rip as one more time around this place before we get into racing action on tonight.
And it looks like not only are they teammates sporting basically the same paint job out there, a little bit different, as they have, looks like the same number font, so it should be easy to keep track of them. These cars are probably one of the easiest to paint on here as we get the green flag for the first time here in a heat race number 1. And the one I want to watch too is going to be that 5 of Dylan Petty. out on the high side right now. He's doing a good job. He's always fast and competitive here in this league, and I don't expect anything less here in the street stocks.
Absolutely. They're going to take it 3 wide down the front straightaway now going down into corner number 1. That 5P's ripping up there on the high side. Watch the 35 down low. He's got the advantage now going into turn 3.
Jed Barton got shuffled back quite a bit to 4th place. Obviously not where he wants to be. He wants to get into that top 3. Obviously get the win. As I say that, Dylan Petty's going to try to knock down that concrete wall we talked about. And the concrete wall won. Dylan Petty going to possibly lose a spot. But it looks like he's going to hang on to it.
Dylan Petty in that 5 machine. The 5P is going to move up into that 2nd position now. Now battle back on for 3rd. Up into the outside wall. That D1RT driver we were talking about up in the 115. He's going to almost take a ride there as he's falling back like a rock.
He is indeed, and I just caught a there. If you're looking around the 115 of Jed Barton, look, you got Mitch Stiles, Eric Schaff we're going to go with, and Gregory Sager all running the exact same paint job there with MDM on the hood. Those paint jobs looking identical. Good thing they have different numbers. That could get very confusing out here on the track.
The MDM cars becoming competitive with each other now. Got these guys ripping around here now down the front straightaway, and well, I'll tell you, that 115 car, he managed to make it work. He's back there in 3rd. The 5P now, Dylan Petty, trying to hunt down your leader. Brandon Franks out there out front now, crossing the stripe with just a handful of laps to go.
Is indeed a handful and less. 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air for your leader, Brandon Franks, in the 116 machine. And that's going to do it right there. It will wrap it up. So he will be your race winner here in heat race number 1, the 116 of Brandon Franks. Again, heat race number 2 going to be coming out. And I don't think we're going to have a B main here tonight. Again, this is our first night with this new one. Someone said 22 going to make it. If that is the case, then it looks like we would not have a B main. We'd go straight on to your feature race.
That we would. So, Corey Whitworth in the number 69 machine. He's going to be your pole sitter for heat race number 2. 2nd fastest in qualifying. Puts him pole heat race number 2. Starting outside of him is going to be 7X Mason Turner, front row. Also going to be one to watch out for tonight. Everybody's so close out here on the times, Charles, and it's really making for some awesome racing so far, as we saw in heat race number 1.
It definitely is, and Corey Whitworth in that 69, like you said, always someone to watch. We've watched him in several different leagues. He used to be in the Thursday series that we covered for Team VLR. He is definitely a very fast driver, showing that as he's on the pole, about ready to get the green flag this next time by. Mason Turner, someone to watch as well. Looks like we're going to have Matthew Bender and Connor Lane not going to be starting, but we are getting the green flag as the Kevin Fry waving the green flag, as we like to refer to him.
Corey Whitworth going to take the field down in the back straightaway. He's going to have company. Another MDN machine. That 7X going to be ripping right on his back bumper down to complete lap 1.
He is indeed running right around the middle. I wouldn't say top side, but you do have one driver running the top side of this track, and that is going to be the 0 of Cole. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. We're going to call him Cole H here tonight until we clarify that name. He's running now on the bottom as we have the 3, actually going to be the 23, I believe, of Justin Stoles running all the way to the high side. And everyone that's run that high side so far has pretty much smacked that outside wall of the back bumper. So it's going to be interesting to see if that's the line later on tonight.
Absolutely. You got the 0002 up there marked as a 3D on his car, but the 0002 up there ripping high side in 3rd. That's Dylan Thomas up there, and right behind him in 4th is Cole Hendrickson. Top 5 pretty much spread out here.
Yeah, Hendrickson back there battling good. Corey Whitworth still out front, but I wouldn't say he's safe. He is still under pressure here with 3 laps to go. From Mason Turner. Turner trying to get by him in that 7X machine. And interesting line. We're seeing really 3 distinct lines, at least 2 distinct lines anyway, the top side and the bottom. I'm going to be watching to see which one of those that comes together later on. With the car count it is, I don't see too much wear going to be coming to this track. But definitely going to be interesting to see which line is the preferred line as Mason Turner going to go over the tire.
He went over the tire. All right, 1 lap to go. White flag is in the air now. He's going to have to watch. He's got a company up above from the 002. They made contact going down the back straightaway for the second position. Corey Whitworth's going to get your heat race win. Mason Turner in second. And Cole Hendrickson is going to hang on to that third position. Almost up and over went that 7K back there.
Yeah,
I can't tell if that's an X or a K.
I'm reading it now. I believe it may be a K. It's hard to tell up there from all the way in the booth, but that is just like that. Heat racing's over. We do have a 3-minute warm-up before we move into the race. And as we like to do here on the Race on Texas channel, we're going to take a little bit of a break and make sure we have our voices ready to go. This is time when you go to your personal concession stand, also known as your kitchen, and grab you something to drink, something to snack on, and we'll be right back here in just about 2.5 minutes, and we're going to go A-Main Racing for 40 laps, and we'll see who comes out on top after that. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and again, we are ready for your A-Main 40 laps, and we're showing actually 35 laps. So, I believe, again, this is our first night back here. We've been off from the midgets. My guess is it's said 40 on the thing, so that's what we put. But I believe they're going to run 30 laps. We may see a salute to the fans here during those extra 5 laps. We'll find out if they take the green or when the green drops, if it's actually a thrown invisible yellow, as we like to call it, and they're going to do that salute. They've done it in the past, and I'd be willing to bet with 35 laps that's what's going to be here tonight.
Would be awesome indeed. Of course, this is my first time ever covering World of Thunder, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen here on the night overall. So far, I've liked what I've seen, and some really good, fast, clean racing and the heat racing. It's what I like to see.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we had about a 10-minute pre-show there with the obviously the pre-roll and then the little practice. So we've only been racing for about 16 minutes. That's about par for, a real race. And it's not going to be a show. It is going straight into the racing, as it's going to be the 116 that is out front, and obviously stuff getting jumbled up on the overlays. But it's going to be Brandon Franks out front. The question is how many cautions we'll have with practice in the heat races the way it was going. I'm not thinking too many.
Corey Whitworth in the DG69 making a move for the lead. He's going to make it stick down low. They're going to be side by side. Now down at a corner number 4, new leader DG69.
Yeah, we told you to look out for Corey Whitworth. He's fast no matter where he goes. And anytime you can beat someone like Brandon Franks, Dylan Petty, Mason Turner, any of these guys, especially the D1RTs, as the caution comes out for Trevor Frank, as we got a parking lot on the backstretch.
Battered, smothered, and covered down the back straightaway. Looked like the 121 first one to go around off the front bumper of that 21 machine. Brian Johnson and that 121 going around. 21 Trevor Frank. Looked like just kind of nowhere to go in that situation. They're coming off the cushion, and visibility in these cars is not the greatest as is, so
yeah, definitely visibility not the greatest, and just like that, you're going to have about 4 or 5 cars involved. The good news is with these cars, and it's been that way pretty much since day one as we go back to the front of this field, is they're almost like little miniature race car tanks. They can take a lot of beating before you're out of the race. So that's precisely why we still see everyone on track right now, minus Hunter Parsons, who came down for 3.6 seconds and put it in the trailer. But just like that, the green flag's out and our leaders are beating banging already.
Yeah, hit with a big door right off the start between the 69 and the 116, but Corey Whitworth going to get out front. Oh, your third placement goes around. Caution flag is in the air. Contact between him and the 116. That's the 5 car, and heavy contact between him and the 35.
And we won't even go back and look at that. We watched it live, so we saw exactly what happened. Just contact going through the corner and sends the 5P around of Dylan Petty.
Almost everybody was able to get through. A little bit of a stack up involving a couple other cars. 01, 121 again, and the 712 also getting involved in that, trying to chuck up for the wreck. But yeah, everything was almost clean in that spin until 35, just nowhere to go, and heavy contact into that door.
It definitely was. The good news here, we're seeing a few cautions in here in the feature. We didn't see any in the heat races. It's your A-Main changing the story here and the way this one's going to play out. Good news is they do run the green-white checkered, so we will finish this under green flag conditions, but that is still a ways away. We're only on lap 10 of 35. We've completed 9. We are getting under caution here. It's a 69, fixing to get ready to hit that ladder pedal again and get this thing started next time by.
Yep, staying yellow for just one more lap here. These guys will get stacked up, doubled up, and ready to go green flag racing once again. Again, that's the DG69 right there. The 7, I believe it's the 7K. Going to be to his outside. I still cannot tell if that's an X or a K.
We may just have to, we'll just call him the XK if we have to, but he's got a number, I believe, yeah, it looks like a straight edge. I believe that is a K on the 7K there of Mason Turner, which is funny because it's Mason Turner. It's not a K or an X on his name, but the caution is going to come out once again, and this time It looks like the 29 or the 13, whichever you want to call him, Carson Case, trying to take that car over the tire, and, well, the tire won this time.
Yeah, so
go back to the replay here and see what happened. Did he have helps? The question is. The 21, yes, the 21 involved in this one as well. And he actually was trying to slow it up and didn't get it slowed up in time and just drove it up on the tire. And obviously, you've been around racing quite a bit yourself. Typically, you don't win against one of them monster tires.
No, not in my years of being involved in racing. I don't see a lot of winners in that outcome, and I wouldn't recommend choosing a fight with one of those tires.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff when they get in there. Usually the car doesn't fare too well. I remember seeing one at our local track probably 10 years ago. We had one hit it, and you thought he was on fire the way there was so much smoke because there was water in the tire. It hit the engine that was hot, and people thought he was on fire, but obviously just a lot of smoke. We'll see, though, the green flag going to be coming out this time. It looks like they've opted for single file restart. I'm not sure if it was last time or not. I wasn't paying attention, but single file restart here is the 69 taking the green flag, and this could get interesting. It makes it a little more challenging when you have to try to get to the front single file.
Yep, so obviously advantage goes to Corey Whitworth right there. Now that 7K's got a little bit of company behind him, and by a little bit I mean a rear bumper full, as they're trying to battle for that second position.
And here going to the high side, the 7K and the 3, as you got the 115 of Jed Barton going to take to the bottom side. Now the 3 is going to take to the bottom as well. Technically that's the 002, but either way they're going down to the bottom. Now Jed Barton going back to the high side. And again, as I've said it, you just watch there, everybody going to the high side is trying to expand this wall by a couple of feet.
Dylan Thomas trying to challenge for that second position now. Now he's going to shoot down to the low side, see if he can make it stick. Throttle control is going to be key down there to make it work, and couldn't quite do it that time around, but he's gotten closer and closer every lap he tries. As well, Jed Barton's got company now behind him, also one of the other MDM machines.
Yeah, Mitch Stiles getting into the picture, and we're starting to see this track get real dusty. It was already visible, hard to see, very visible, and now it's getting dusty as well, as the caution's going to come out for Robert Tucker, one of those MDN drivers in that number 35. So we'll take a look and see what happened here. And he had a nice little battle going here in the back, but obviously not ending the way he wanted it to.
All by himself, spun it down low, managed to keep it going without stopping, but he's going to be the cause of caution there, and just couldn't quite make it stick. A lot of nose damage on that 35 machine. He was involved in a wreck earlier with the 5 car, and I'm sure that car's struggling right now.
And one thing I want to note here is we're under caution again. This is becoming a trend. We're seeing a lot of these tracks here on iRacing that do not have the walls on the inside. And that's how a lot of tracks are in real life. Obviously, the tracks they converted to dirt have walls, but these don't. And that really saved them. Otherwise, he probably nosed it into the wall, but he didn't. He was able to just drive it back onto the track. And, you know, that saves you from getting even more damage.
Yeah, absolutely it does, and he was able to avoid the Uke tire and keep it on going. So, once again, we're going to have a single file restart here. The DG69 up front as these guys getting ready to go green once again. Going down the back straightaway as they exit turn 4 this time around. Green flag should maybe fly here. Green flag back in the air. DG69, Curry Whitworth going to take these guys around down at a corner number 1. 7K down low. That's Mason Turner going to try to challenge for the lead. Nothing for him on the bottom.
Yeah, I don't think that bottom's going to be the way to go. We'll see. He's going to try down there, Mason Turner, in that 7K. But every time he does, it's going to look like the 002 of Dylan Thomas is creeping in on him. And he may get him here in the next lap or two, assuming he doesn't get into the wall. The bottom's not working. The top side, you're getting into the wall. It's really a tough decision. You got a 50-50 shot. Which line do you take? Is contact made?
Contact between those two drivers. Dylan Thomas nowhere to go as the 7K drifted up. Is a little bit of nose damage there, and that's going to hold him up. Now caution flag for a separate incident on track.
Gregory Sager bringing out the caution. We'll take a look and see what caused it for that 712 machine. And,
that 21, Trevor Frank, was the first one to go around. Looked like some contact with that outside concrete, and he caught the berm and sent him around. And unfortunately, Trevor, nowhere to go.
Right into the front. That's lucky it's a sim. That'd have probably broke that axle if he hit him that hard in real life. But the 21 involved in just about every caution here tonight. I believe these are open setups, but even then, there's not a lot you can do to them. So obviously, the 21's car is not handling the way he wants. As he's been involved in several, and usually stemming from getting into that outside wall, which we've seen majority of this field here tonight do.
Absolutely. So 30 laps down. It's going to be 5 to go, and it's 5 to go now. Getting ready to go back green flag racing here again, I do believe. Again, staying single file. This guy's heading down the back straightaway this time out of corner number 4. We should be going green once again. Again, Corey Whitworth is still holding out front, and right behind him is going to be that 7K as the green flag's back in the air. Mason Turner going to stay on the high side this time as he's got to defend against Thomas right behind him.
And we've seen that top side up there where the cushion gets smaller.
Oh, look out. Here comes Thomas from the bottom.
Thomas coming in. Can he get us the question? We got a good battle going on between Jed Burton. But right now, that's the battle you were talking about. Mason Turner and Dylan Thomas are going to be side by side. And it looks like Thomas having some connection issues, but they're going to make more contact again.
Oh, no! Caution flag is in the air. Hang on to her T-bone, the 121. Heavy contact with the outside wall, and then with the 121. Unbelievable. Dylan Thomas been running the top 3 all night. Head on to that outside concrete.
Yeah, definitely a heartbreak hotel there for the 3 of Dylan Thomas. You can see the whole engine compartment there as that car is going to be destroyed. We'll see where he stacks up. He may get his spot back depending on how race control goes. We'll see. But the 69 out front, and I believe they are again running green-white checkers. No, not Pace Trucks in. That's it. I figured they were running green-white checkers, but it's not. It's going to be Corey Whitworth that picks up the win here tonight.
Corey Whitworth, that DG69, going to be getting the win here. World of Thunder Racing League, and ending under yellow here tonight, which is not what we want, but unfortunately the circumstances right before the white flag was able to fly.
That's definitely not the way we wanted to, but it is unfortunate. So what we will do is go ahead and put down your running order on the left side of your screen, and we're going to step away here, get ready for the post-race show. We're going to be talking to Corey Whitworth, Mitch Stiles, and Cole Hendrickson here in just a few moments, so don't go anywhere. We're going to get them here in the booth, and we'll be right back with your top 3 here in the post-race show. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have caught up with your third place driver, or at least Brandon has in this case. So we're going to toss it over to Brandon, and there you go.
Yeah, down here on the podium, Cole Henriksen is down here, a third place finish for you tonight, man. Tell us a little bit about your night and how you're feeling.
I'm actually feeling pretty good about the result. I just kind of was patient and, excuse me, it was kind of hard to pass, on this track. You're kind of up high, so I was just kind of patient there and let the race kind of come to me. I didn't really want to do anything stupid on the first night, but yeah, it was definitely a fun race and just tried to be nice, smooth, and patient.
Man, during that whole feature event, you were kind of hanging back there in the shadows, trying to stay out of trouble, and it seemed to work out for you. The couple of guys got in front of you there, or got together in front of you there, and the last lap, and managed to keep it clean and green for your race. Tell us a little bit about how these cars felt around this Fairbury Speedway, and just go through the end of that race for us. Tell us how you got to where you are.
Yeah, they were slick up top. I mean, you really had to hold on to it and make sure that you could, keep it smooth around the corner. I've ran enough of these races where I know that towards the end it gets a little crazy, so I just, was just kind of watching for it, and sure enough, with I think it was 2 to go there, it happened. But yeah, no, I was just kind of chilling in 5th place where I was. My car was really good. Nate Mullenix, he got me a great setup while I was at work today, so yeah, I have no complaints. It was a great car to be driving tonight.
Well, you showed some good speed all night, and shows it in the results. You come home with a podium finish. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank and shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, I would love, first and foremost, like I said, thanks to Nate Mullenix. Just setup was great. I got to thank 101 Designs, Sunday Night Thunder, D&M Sales, and Henriksen Trucking. I don't know, I don't really have any real sponsors. Those people just kind of support what I do, and I'm kind of really a privateer out here just doing it and having fun playing iRacing with my friends. So, but yeah, that's about all I got, and thank you guys for the broadcast and World of Thunder for the race.
Awesome, Cole, and finish here. Ladies and gentlemen, your third place finisher on the night, Cole Henriksen. Once again, congratulations on your...
All right, and of course that is going to bring us to our next one, which will, of course, be second place, and that is going to be the 54 of Mitch Stiles. We'll pull him up to the booth. That is, if we can get him. There he is. Mitch, you got a copy?
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, good. Well, we got you here. Second place on the season opener here for Season 7 with the Street Stocks. They haven't run Street Stocks in over 2 years, 2 seasons, something like that. They're coming back. First off, compared to the other cars here, how do you like these Street Stocks out there racing at Fairbury tonight?
Street stocks are definitely a whole different world in my opinion. I mean, they're not like the big souped up cars like the late models or the pros or anything or the mods. So they definitely take a whole different driving handle on them. Yeah. Going from a pro or a late model, it's totally different.
And we were talking a little bit earlier in the broadcast. This is kind of a grassroots track. These are kind of a grassroots car. So, that being said, to kick off here at Fairbury, obviously it is the newest track on iRacing. So give us your thoughts on kicking off the season at this particular track.
I love this track, but I hate this track because the walls are unforgiving. If I get a track with no walls, I'd be happy.
Well, we did talk about that a little bit. We won't dive too far into that, but yes, we mentioned that too. This track with these concrete walls out there is extremely unforgiving. Last question before we get to your sponsor is about that wall. As we saw just about everyone hitting it, just about how hard can you hit it before it actually starts damaging the car, and how many times can you hit it?
Well, it all depends how hard you hit it. If you hit it as hard as you need to, you can hit it as many as you need to. But if you hit it any harder than you need to, it's only going to take once or twice before it starts to damage your car.
Well, there you have it. Learning to get around this track. It is a tough track, but you did a good job here coming in second place. That being said, you got any sponsors on that car? Just anyone you want to thank for getting you here and finishing second tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank $1 Million Motorsports, you guys for doing the broadcast, iCore, and my wife.
All right. So, well, again, congrats on the second place finish in the true fashion of switching back and forth. We will hand it over to Brandon. Almost forgot your name, Brandon. I apologize. We'll hand it back over to Brandon here as we'll get Corey Whitworth in the booth. Corey, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Brandon, he is all yours. Your race winner, the 69 of Corey Whitworth.
Yeah, down here in victory lane, he's out of the race car now. The 69, Corey Whitworth. Corey, you had a bad fast machine under you tonight, man. How you feeling right now?
It always feels good to get a win. A little more cars, but it wasn't bad.
Not bad, man. You were sitting on a rocket ship, and tell us a little bit about your race. Tell us how your car felt out there. I had a lot of drivers saying it was pretty slick up there and a little bit sketchy up there on the high side.
Yeah, I was a lot more comfortable running the top. I felt like I could be a little more consistent than most. Just drive in, turn it, put the right rear in the fluff, and hold it there next to the wall plumb until you come off the corner. But the first half of the race, I was kind of running the bottom to the middle. And I had a pretty good momentum line figured out that I used to pass the leader. I was going to stay patient, and then I noticed, well, I'm gaining quite a bit here, so I might as well just go ahead and try to pull the pass off. And I got underneath him and passed him, and that was kind of my race.
Yeah, you had a couple of cautions along the way. Tell us about those double file restarts. You had some guys trying to challenge you at first, but things getting a little bit hairy there every once in a while on those restarts, guys trying to dive it in on you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those tonight?
Yeah, the restarts are always tricky. You gotta get your timing just right and try to catch those guys caught off guard. And it's all about picking that spot when to go and then not messing your line up in the first corner, and you should be set from there. I know those restarts. Most of them, I didn't really know the top was good yet, so I just stayed running the line that I had been, and it was a fun race.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked like a blast out there, and results look good for you. You finished first. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank, give shout out to for your performance here tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank the whole team at Southern Sim Racing. I had a couple of my teammates here. They had pretty decent runs, but they were cut short due to some people driving over their head or not lifting when they need to lift. Stuff happens. Feel bad for those guys. I feel like we could have had a top 3 SSR podium here. So yeah, hats off to those guys. They're great groups to run with. You got to thank World of Thunder for putting the show on. You got to thank you guys up here in the broadcast booth. Here in the next hour or so, after everything calms down, I'll go back and watch that replay. I got to thank Mike M at Mike M Designs. He painted this car for me. He does all my stuff, and he's just top notch. And I can't thank him enough for all he's done for me over the years. Hopefully, in the next week or so, we'll be able to bust out a new car that he's got planned for us. Be a slight number change, but we'll see how it goes.
Awesome job on your win tonight, Corey. And again, thank you for talking to us. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner on the night, Corey Whitworth.
And definitely a good race indeed. Talking to all three of them, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for us here tonight. Of course, as always, any final thoughts on the night, Brandon, before we call it a night and go hang out and do some fun, whatever it is we're going to do after the show?
Well, first thing, I want to thank Race on Texas and you, Charles, for bringing me on the booth tonight. I had a blast, as always, my first time back to the broadcasting scene in about 3 months or so always happy to be back. And, yeah, awesome racing here. Really like these guys at World of Thunder. First impressions is good, hard racing and some hard-nosed short-track racing with the street stocks.
Definitely was some great racing. That being said, it is time to sign off. We'll see you tomorrow night, 10:30 p.m. Central Time, with some Northwest Truck Series racing at Talladega. Should be a good one. As always, Talladega does not disappoint. Of course, that will be over on the VRN channel, not here on Race on Texas. So make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. That being said, we are done, and we'll see you there.